Right now, roughly 40% of all adults are walking around with prediabetes or insulin resistance. Almost half the population is carrying a condition that increases the risk of dying from heart disease, stroke, kidney failure, dementia, and certain cancers. Not just diabetes, all of those. And the damage does not start when blood sugar finally goes high. It starts years, sometimes a full decade earlier, while insulin climbs silently in the background and no one tests for it. 10 strategies can reverse this, ranked from simplest to most powerful. Number 10. Stop drinking your calories. Fruit juice, smoothies, sugary coffee, energy drinks, even coconut water. When you drink sugar, there is no chewing, no fiber, no delay. It hits your stomach and gets absorbed almost immediately, creating one of the sharpest possible glucose and insulin spikes your body can experience. Even blended fruit causes problems because blending destroys the fiber structure that normally slows sugar absorption. You end up consuming far more sugar in one sitting than you would eating the same fruit whole. Your pancreas has to respond aggressively. Insulin surges, blood sugar crashes an hour later, and you are hungry and tired again. That spike and crash cycle, repeated daily for months and years, is one of the fastest roads to insulin resistance. If you change nothing else from this video, cut the liquid calories first. Number 9. Stop eating every 2 to 3 hours. For years, health advice told people to eat small, frequent meals to keep metabolism active. That advice does not hold up. Every time you eat, even a small snack, your pancreas releases insulin. If you eat every 2 or 3 hours throughout the day, insulin never falls back to baseline. It stays chronically elevated, and that prolonged elevation is one of the core drivers of insulin resistance. Your body needs low insulin windows. That is when fat gets mobilized for energy. That is when cells reset their sensitivity. That is when repair processes suppressed by insulin can actually take place. Create clear gaps between meals. Let yourself get genuinely hungry before eating again. It might feel uncomfortable for a few days if you are used to grazing, but your body adapts quickly. The goal is 3 proper meals with nothing in between, and your insulin levels will start falling within the first week. But spacing meals apart only works if the meals themselves are built correctly. Number 8 changes what happens during the meal. Number 8. Walk for 10 minutes after eating. You do not need to run or do anything intense. When your muscles contract, they pull glucose directly from your bloodstream through a pathway that does not require insulin at all. It is essentially a back door into the cell that bypasses the usual system. This is most powerful within 30 minutes of finishing a meal, exactly when glucose is flooding into your blood. A short walk during that window blunts the spike significantly. Do this consistently, day after day, and your muscles become trained to handle glucose more efficiently, even when you are not exercising. It is one of the simplest habits on this list and one of the most effective. After dinner is the best time to start because that is when most people eat their largest meal. Number 7. Never eat carbohydrates alone. When carbs hit your stomach by themselves, they digest fast, and glucose enters your bloodstream in one concentrated wave. But when you add protein or fat to the same meal, everything slows down. Protein triggers hormones that delay stomach emptying. Fat physically slows the movement of food through your gut. The result is a gentler, more gradual release of glucose instead of a sharp spike. You do not need complicated meals. If you are having toast, add eggs or peanut butter. If you are eating rice, include chicken or fish cooked in olive oil. If you snack on fruit, pair it with a handful of nuts or a piece of cheese. Small combinations, a massive difference in how your body responds. And you will feel fuller for longer, which naturally reduces the temptation to eat between meals. Those 4 strategies handle the basics. Number 6 through number 3 are where the real metabolic shifts happen. Number 6. Protect your sleep like your life depends on it, because metabolically, it does. Even a single night of poor or short sleep measurably impairs your glucose tolerance the next day. Your cells become less responsive to insulin. Your appetite hormones shift toward craving high-sugar, high-fat foods. Your cortisol rises, which tells your liver to dump extra glucose into your bloodstream, even though you have not eaten anything. Repeat that pattern over weeks, and you have created insulin resistance that has nothing to do with your diet. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep in a dark, cool room at roughly the same time every night. That consistency matters because your internal clock controls when your body handles glucose most efficiently, and irregular sleep throws that rhythm off completely. If you are struggling with blood sugar despite eating well, look at your sleep before changing anything else. Number 5 is the strategy that sounds too simple to matter, but the research behind it is serious. Eat your food in a specific order. Start with fiber, then protein and fat, and then carbohydrates last. When you begin a meal with vegetables, the fiber forms a physical mesh in your stomach and small intestine that slows the absorption of everything that follows. By the time the carbohydrates arrive, they are absorbed gradually instead of all at once. Studies have shown reductions in post-meal glucose spikes of up to 40% just from changing the order of the same food. Nothing added, nothing removed. Just a different sequence. Start every meal with a salad, some cooked vegetables, or raw carrots. Move to your protein. Finish with the carbohydrates. It costs nothing, fits any eating pattern, and the impact on your daily insulin load is significant. This is the kind of strategy that sounds like a gimmick until you see the data behind it. If you are finding this useful, hit subscribe. We cover practical health strategies like this every week to help you take control of your metabolic health. Number 4. Replace ultra-processed foods with whole foods. Ultra-processed means industrially manufactured, with ingredients you would never find in a home kitchen. Emulsifiers, stabilizers, artificial flavors, and preservatives. These foods are engineered to digest almost instantly, delivering glucose into your bloodstream faster than your body was designed to handle. But speed is not the only problem. Emerging research suggests certain additives independently worsen insulin resistance, even when total calorie intake is identical. They may disrupt gut bacteria or interfere with metabolic signaling in ways researchers are still mapping. The simplest filter is this. If a product has more than 5 ingredients on the label, or if you would not recognize most of those ingredients, it is probably working against your metabolic health. If it did not exist 100 years ago, be suspicious of it. This single change affects blood sugar, inflammation, and hormone balance simultaneously. Number 3 is the timing insight that changes everything. Eat earlier and stop eating 3 hours before bed. Your body does not handle glucose the same way at every hour of the day. Insulin sensitivity peaks in the morning and falls steadily through the evening. That means a meal eaten at 8 a.m. produces a significantly smaller glucose and insulin response than the identical meal eaten at 10 p.m. Late-night eating is metabolically expensive because your body simply is not set up to process it efficiently. Front-load your food earlier in the day. Have a substantial breakfast, a solid lunch, and a lighter or earlier dinner. Finish eating at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. This single shift aligns your eating with your circadian rhythm and also improves sleep quality, which further improves insulin sensitivity. 2 benefits from one change. Number 2, build muscle. This is the most underrated tool for reversing insulin resistance, and it is not even close. Muscle tissue is the single largest glucose storage site in your entire body. When you have more muscle, you have more capacity to absorb glucose from your bloodstream. Your cells become more sensitive to insulin, even at rest, even on days you do not exercise. You do not need to become a bodybuilder. 2 to 3 sessions per week of basic resistance training with weights, resistance bands, or body weight exercises like squats and push-ups is enough to start shifting your metabolic profile. What matters is consistency and progressive challenge. Your muscles need to be asked to do something difficult in order to adapt and grow. As they grow, your insulin sensitivity improves with them. Every pound of muscle you add is a pound of glucose storage capacity your body did not have before. And now, For number 1, the single most important thing on this entire list, and it is not a habit, it is a test. Number 1, get your fasting insulin measured, not fasting glucose, not A1C. Fasting insulin. Here is why this matters more than anything else on this list. Insulin rises years, sometimes a full decade, before blood sugar ever becomes abnormal. You can get your glucose and A1C tested and be told everything looks fine while your insulin has been climbing silently for years. By the time glucose finally goes high, the damage to your heart, brain, kidneys, and blood vessels is already well underway. A fasting insulin level gives you the earliest possible warning. If it is elevated even while your blood sugar looks normal, you are already insulin resistant. That means you have years to reverse it naturally with the 9 strategies above before it ever turns into diabetes or heart disease. Ask for a fasting insulin test at your next appointment. If it is not offered routinely, request it specifically. This single number tells you more about your metabolic future than almost any other blood test available. Do not wait for a diabetes diagnosis to take this seriously. The habits you build in your 30s, 40s, and 50s determine whether your later decades are active, independent, and free from preventable disease, or dominated by medications and hospital appointments for problems that started with insulin resistance that nobody tested for. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching.